No, but this is me, but the captures. I don't know first. Okay. Hello? Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Well, and now you can see me.
Sorry, I just there's this little tiny thing that pops up at the top that says, you know, invite or allow Frank to come in. I'm like, why did you tell me? Of course, I invited him to come in. Why would I want? Fucking idiot.
Why wouldn't you? Yes.
What happens? I'm wondering what happens if you turn your camera this way?
My camera is it?
Doesn't fix the thing, eh?
Okay, now I lost you. What the hell happened?
Is he gonna come back? Come on back.
Wait a
Come
minute.
on back.
Let me see.
Come on back.
All right.
Come on back.
All right. Is that any better for you?
I don't know. It's a little bit better. You still seem like you're square, but it's a little better because when I think about editing, if you saw what I did, oh, it was a pain in the
Yeah.
butt because I had to actually create two separate videos, one of you, one of me, and then glue them back together, but scale them differently. You know what I mean?
They still look like
We're
not
still.
great.
It's not. It's not perfect.
Definitely not. I want to see if I can get my camera any
Do you want to
higher.
try? Maybe we could try Messenger again. Do you want to try Messenger again? I like. I see this other thing recording, but maybe Zoom is just because it was a pain to edit that thing together. But
Can you capture Messenger on video?
I did it. Like the problem last time was the sound wasn't kept. Was it the problem? I don't understand why the video cut out because we tried to do one on Messenger, but we did a test before that on Messenger. I think so.
I think it was. Yeah. I
But
don't know what happened.
Messenger would be much better even on the computer. But for some reason, the video recording that one time didn't work out. Why don't we try it? Let's try
Try
Messenger.
do a test
And
run.
okay, I'll call you on Messenger. I'll hang up to this one. I'll call you on Messenger, and then we'll do a little test for 2 minutes or something, just so I can. When do you have to feed your dog, though? Because you got to
In about 45 minutes.
45 minutes. Okay,
So we
okay.
can take a break and continue, but I just want to let you know I have to do that though.
Yeah, no, it's a good deadline. Okay, all right. Let's try that then. I'll end this one and try Messenger then.
Alrighty.
Okay,
See you
bye.
in a minute. Okay, that's well. Okay, the perspective is much better.
Yeah. Are you like? Did you stack your? The other thing someone said I had to stack my thing on some other stuff. So
Let
like
me see if I can stack. Oh crap!
it's just otherwise they're looking at the bottom of my chin, and I could probably even put it higher. I don't know what I could put under it though. Anyways, but there's a little details. But they said that too, like
Don't worry about the details. Let me see if I can
little
get mine higher.
details.
Because if I can get mine just a little higher, I would be happy. I'd be extremely happy. Let's see.
And it doesn't have to be perfect, I don't want to, because we did try. I think sometimes that was a thing when we were doing things with Sean, or when Sean he was showing me all these great different editing tools, and I was going through some of the editing stuff just for that last video. Oh my god! Like I would have had to go through 3 or 4 times. Like if it was an hour we talked, because at one point the sound wasn't syncing, so I had to like go to different points in the video to see where the sound was. Oh my goodness! It
That sucks.
so it's like the what was it the enemy of the good is perfection or something like that, or perfection is the enemy of anyway of like if you're trying to be perfect, you'll actually like destroy everything you're trying to make, basically. You know what I mean?
That sounds logical to me.
But anyways, let's see if I. Okay.
Now I'm off to the left, but
You see, in our recording, I'll be off to the left. I don't know if I can make it 50-50. Is there a way of... Whoops, no, I disappeared totally. Um, I go to parameters. Like, you know what I mean? Like, which might be fine. I don't mind that. As long as we get something
you mean
recorded.
parameters, parameters, parameters,
Parameters? What do we say that? Oh, that would be a whole episode.
parameters.
Parameters? I don't know if... Like, I kind of... There's, like, buttons on your... I don't know. Oh, there, the buttons kind of disappeared. Okay. Yeah, I think we can work with that. You're there. I can't really move my own self around, but that's okay. I was playing a lot of times when I'm like I'll talk to my son on Messenger, and you can put different faces on. But now I'm on my computer.
Yeah.
I can't put like remember we used to do. Oh yeah, we used to do that like the Blues Brothers. Now I can't. I can't put faces on myself for some reason in the computer version, but that's probably okay. But yeah. But anyways, how are you doing today?
All right. How about you? But thank you again, Fraser, for the money. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Are we under the same contract or what?
Yeah, if you want to talk about contract going forward, I didn't think about that before, but yeah, how is it?
If you want to keep doing that, look, you pay me. I don't care. I'll do this without you paying me. I don't mind. I like talking with you anyway.
I,
I just like to have a little bit more of motivation. That's
it's all
motivation
right.
for me.
That's all right, and I understand. I understand. Like it was like this. I don't know. One of these economists was saying, and not like for a dollar for Donald Trump is worth different than a dollar for you, say. And I'm no Donald Trump. You know what I mean? Like what I mean
Yeah.
is a dollar for a billionaire doesn't actually have the same worth. It was like someone was saying, what was his name? Zach.
A dollar to him is like, I don't know, a nickel to us.
A
Maybe
nickel.
not even like, it's like $20 to him be like a nickel to us or something like that.
There was one. What's the Facebook guy's name? Zuckerberg?
Zuckerberg, yeah.
Zuckerberg. I don't remember his first name, but it's Zuckerberg. Apparently,
Mark?
and it was in California somewhere, maybe San Diego or one of these cities, and I'm pretty sure in the West Coast. And he gave $70 million to a hospital. And it was a public hospital, not even a private hospital. Apparently, it's like the largest donation to a public hospital ever. And one guy was looking at this. He's like, Mark, that was his name. Mark Zuckerberg earns more than $70 million in a day, given his net worth increase over the last... In one day, he makes that. So it sounds enormous. But if it's like someone would give away one day's salary, a normal person might make like $100, $200. I don't know what it is American, but maybe up here it's something like
$100. Well, it's still my minimum wage, about $110. $110.
You know what I
in
mean?
New York, anyway. $15
That's what
an
Mark
hour.
Zuckerberg gave away is $110 for someone at minimum wage. And that's the kind of scale you give it to. He could buy a hospital. Well, I don't know, buy a hospital, but do something with the hospital. Whereas $110, you could like have a weekend.
Buy dinner. You could buy dinner.
You could buy dinner in New York. Yeah, shit.
Yeah, basically, oh god. I mean, the juxtaposition of that. Like, I'd like to have that kind of money. It's called FU money. You don't have to care about anything else. Just so you pay for anything that you want. But are you recording this now, by the way?
I think so. Pretty sure.
Okay.
It says it's recording. Oh,
okay. Because I don't want to lose this conversation. This is good stuff. But anyway, what was I going to say? We're talking about money. Oh my god, I lost my train of thought. How do I do that?
Buying dinner for $110? Where were you going from there?
Well, $110 buys you dinner here. I mean, it's for two maybe. Yeah. At a restaurant, you want to take out. You can probably feed 3 or 4 people on that. It's expensive, but
yeah,
having that kind of money.
Oh yeah, having that kind of money. That's what you're talking about. If you had that kind of money.
I don't know what I would. I mean, $70 million in one day.
Imagine you're making that every day.
Liberals tend to think that these billionaires have all this money in liquid fashion.
No, it's not.
And they don't. No, if they have it in stocks and bonds.
Yeah.
If they were to take it out as liquid currency, their whole net worth down to zero because Facebook will be worth zero, like Amazon will be worth nothing. It's a lot of money in the stocks.
Oh
So
yeah,
you take the
I
salary.
no, and I totally understand that one. It was like the difference between wealth and revenue. They're two different
Yeah,
things. Whereas when I went to university, I remember I signed up for a student loan, and they said, "Well, what do your parents make?" And you had to give your, the parents' revenue plus assets, which is wealth. And I
wow,
came from a
okay.
farm, right? I came from a farm, and a farm, it was a medium-sized farm in Alberta. It's actually worth quite a lot. Like if you were
Yeah,
actually to
yeah.
sell the land, it would be worth a lot. So they said, no, you don't qualify. So basically, they said like my dad would have
Right,
to
right.
sell the farm to send me, but if he sold even a piece of the farm, it would handicap him. It's not like liquid
Right.
cash. That's his
I mean,
way of
that's
making money. His way of making money is the farm. It's not his money is the farm. Well, like again, it's difference between wealth and revenue, and it's true.
but
But
that
at the
was
same time, like if you had more, like if I figure if I had, I think at one time I thought if I had $1 million and I put it in an account for five
yeah,
percent. That would give me $50,000 every year,
right.
and I would be happy as shit. I said, like,
Me
I could,
too.
if I could know to stop at $1 million and just live off of the results of that.
Yeah.
Why do you need to go to 1 billion or 500 billion? I don't know. Some of these guys are worth like
It's
silly
greed.
amounts.
It's not, it's capitalism, greed. They want the money. I can't fault anybody who wants to keep the money that they earn, whether it's $10 a day or $1 billion a day. I don't care. You earn it. It's yours.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you don't abuse it. But that there was a problem here now in America. You're talking about the farms now. Um, there was an inheritance tax they wanted to put on farmers, where the
Mm-hmm.
parents died, whoever on the farm had to pay the people inheriting it had to pay a certain percentage of what the farm was worth. Some farms here are worth up to $10 million. So these
Mm-hmm.
kids who inherited their parents' farm could not pay the inheritance tax.
Mm-hmm.
Something like 10% on $10 million, actually $1 million in cash. Who's got $1 million in cash?
Mm-hmm.
And farms are seasonal, obviously. You don't make money 3, 4 months, maybe 6 months out of the year. And when you what's it called? Get all the crops out. What's it called? Harvest. When you harvest and sell, that's when you make all your money. So it's crazy when they want to have the tax bracket here. They wanted to kill the farming industry.
And it hurts. No, no, and I understand. It would be like really tough on passing. And I think up here too, like passing on inheritance, similar kind of thing. It hurts those kind of businesses like farmers, and it hurts, well, anyone with kind of wealth. Like that's the thing that
Yeah,
it is a way, and I totally
yeah.
understand it, and I understand the
We're
hurt
not
because
talking
that's where I
about
come from.
people with
But
the wealth.
you understand who is like it becomes from the super wealthy, or essentially, at least in Canada, anyways, other than maybe a couple of
Well,
farming
without
industries, those are the super poor. Those are people that are
Mhm.
so they're poor, and it's like it's tough. So it hits farmers and it hits the super rich. Because if a super
Well,
rich
okay.
person, if Mark
Here's
Zuckerberg had to give away 10% of his money, well, that means he has to sell Twitter or something. You know what I mean? Or I don't know
Yeah.
if he owns Twitter,
Well,
but you know what I
but
mean?
anyway, this tax was affecting people who had land wealth, real estate, not
Mm-hmm.
anything liquid. And it wouldn't affect people who have liquid assets. Basically, Zuckerberg, the guy who owns Twitter,
Mm-hmm.
the guy who owns Amazon, I can't remember his name at present either. They all have a lot of liquid assets.
Bezos.
Bezos, right? They have a lot of liquid assets. They can afford to pay taxes. They can afford his inheritors can afford the inheritance tax if they pay a percentage of what they get. People who
Like,
own
you think that's a
houses,
good idea, though?
is that
Really?
what?
Like, imagine Donald Trump, he's $1 billion. His family has to
Yeah,
pay $100 million in tax. That's like okay? You mean, or that's a
I
good
don't think
thing?
it's
Or
okay, but that's the law. I think it's
okay,
like I think above $10 million, you got to pay a certain percentage, I believe. But
okay. Like an
people,
inheritance below that is okay, or
when you inheritance below that, you get it scot free.
okay. That's still it's a. Anyways, like you say, that covers farmers. That covers small businesses, that covers
Yeah,
like people that because yeah, and I don't know. I mean, like it's an interesting like economic position, like what the inheritance tax fairly should be. You know, like you worked in society, you did all this, and what's good
zero.
for the kids too. Like people that are born into like a golden spoon in their mouth or something like this. We talked about those before.
Yeah,
It's like
who have
that's
no
maybe
value
not
of
the
a
best
dollar
thing for
anyway.
a kid to be born into a world where you don't have to work for what you eat. You know what I mean? Like
Right, there's no value for money. They don't know what's worth,
you
right?
don't know what's what. But then do you just okay? You don't get any inheritance. You have to build it from the ground up, just like your dad did. Is that? I mean, you're. I don't know. It's a weird. It's a weird kind of balance to make. But for the, I
Well,
don't
it's
know.
that's the thing. That's the thing. You work all your life. You pay taxes on your
Yeah.
income. You pay taxes when you buy something. You pay taxes if you when you buy a car. You pay taxes to keep the car. You pay taxes on the gasoline you put in your car. You pay taxes on
Mm-hmm.
the maintenance. You pay tax after tax after tax. Real estate tax, water tax,
Yeah.
sales tax, income tax. And if they tax the air you breathe, the water you drink, the food you eat, how much money could they possibly want to tax the hell out of you? It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
They don't let you keep any money that you make. And this is funny too. My brother had a conversation with somebody, um, a liberal, said without taxes, we wouldn't have police, firefighters, paved roads, libraries,
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. I get it. We need all these public services, but people who live at or just above the poverty line are being withheld taxes every year. They get it back at the end of the year in America, anyway. When you file taxes,
Mm-hmm.
so the average person gets $2,000 to $3,000 back. So my brother was saying, I don't want that money being held and then given back to me. So first of all, it's giving government an unsecured loan. You don't get any interest. They just get the money back to you. I don't want that. Secondly, I don't pay my bills at the end of the year. I pay them every month. So getting that money back at the end of the year does nothing for me. I need it monthly.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's true. It's a weird kind of way of calculating things and the return system. And I totally agree about that. Like it's like an interest free loan. And that's an interesting policy. Like again, everyone knows that if you have certain assets for 9 months, for 6 months in a given account, like after studying math, I mean that's the sort of thing we calculate. It's like how much that is worth over 1 year, even if
Yeah,
it's like anyways, if it's given over a year, of course they're making that's a lot when you look over the whole of society of all those refunds they get given.
it,
And
it's
it is it's a
it's
weird
money
system,
away.
but there's
The
ways,
American
but
government pisses money away. It's
it pisses away. Oh,
unreal.
and yeah, there's a way, and we briefly talked about that last time. Like, what could the motivation be to help when someone else is spending when you're spending someone else's money, when a person is spending someone else's money, right?
Right, right.
Like,
Yeah, yeah.
is there a way
If
of
I'm spending
motivating that
crazy money,
person? Because
I'll spend crazy money. I have no sense of limits. But my own money, I
you have
have
a
a sense of
sense of
limits.
limits, and how to kind of like impose that sense of limits on someone spending someone else's money. You know what I mean? Like if it's I don't know, you're I don't know. Anyway, some other example, like your friends spending your money or your kids spending your money. Like how to impose some sort of sense of responsibility. The further and further the connection gets away from the
Right.
source of the money, because there's certain things, like you say, we want the police budget to be well spent. Like we need or the fire service, whatever we pick like one essential service. We want that money to be well spent. We don't want them
Right.
spending, like exorbitant amounts of money just to have, I don't know, seat warmers in the truck or something like this, right?
Or $10 million to Pakistan for gender studies.
But what I'm saying
Please.
is we start on like a basic thing that we agree on, like how to
Yeah.
motivate the fire chief to best spend his resources. You know what I mean?
Right.
And like how, because that is not innate in a fire chief system. Like, yeah, maybe you might get a good fire chief, but maybe might get one that doesn't. He says, "Oh, I'm going to spend $100 on gloves for my boys rather than $50 for the good, not gloves, but I don't know, trying to think of some socks or something like
No,
that. You
it's
know
so
what I mean?
stupid. Yeah,
Like if it's
yeah, so
100 or 50 bucks for someone whose money it's not their own, well, they're going to buy the $100 socks rather than the $50
right.
socks. I say it like that, but some product or other, a basic need that you need in the fire station. Like, what do you need? And that's the basic level for me is like how to motivate public servants like that so that when you get to the next level, whether it be like, the safety net that we talked about, how to motivate again, whatever your political spinnings are. If you prefer a government that's this size or this size, that we're both in agreement that we have a good motivating system for the public servants to spend the money well, because otherwise you can't have confidence in the system. You get wasted money, like you say often. Yeah,
Oh boy, we have so much waste in America.
so
It's
much
not
waste.
funny. And a lot of the people to systems here, like firefighters or police, or even like the sanitation, that where they pave roads, stuff like that. They have to justify their budget every year.
Mm-hmm.
So, as the roads are concerned, they'll break up a perfectly good road to repave it to justify their budget for the next year. These budgets aren't considered annually; they're considered, well, they are considered annually. They're not considered on an as needed basis. So you'll see a
Yeah.
richer neighborhood have fresher paved roads, and poorer neighborhoods won't, because a lot of poor people don't own cars. So they'll have potholes and stuff like that, broken up sidewalks and bad streets.
Mm-hmm.
But the richer neighborhoods will have better stuff like that. And of course, it's a bias system, because the more paying taxes, the more you're going to get back.
And there's different. Is it like that in New York? Like here in Montreal, they tried to amalgamate all the what do you call the borough, not the boroughs, but like there was a lot of little cities on the island before, and they tried to
Let me think.
amalgamate it into one city, and then certain of the ones they were allowed to vote, and if they got a 2/3 vote, they could re-separate. It's still just a neighborhood in Montreal, but it's a city unto itself, and one of them is the rich neighborhood, and so they're their own city. Technically, it's all everyone sees it as part of Montreal, but they pay their own taxes. They have their own parking rules. They have their own snow clearing. There's some
Let me
common
think of
things obviously between them, but
think
they
back
get
a statement.
so good services, right? You know what I mean?
I want to take back a statement that the more you pay in taxes, you don't get any better service. You get the same as everybody else. But in New
Mm-hmm.
York, you can't survive unless you're super rich and
Mm-hmm.
super poor. There's really no middle class, because everything is so expensive here. And just like a pack of cigarettes alone, just to have a certain kind of a view of how much we pay. A pack of cigarettes is $15. A gallon of milk is $4. A loaf of bread is $1.50. It's expensive. You can't really get by unless you're on food stamps or you're super rich.
Yeah, no, and that sounds about the same price as we pay actually. Well, except for gas. Gas, even when you translate it, I don't think it's as good as that. But the
Well,
other
right
one's
now
like a pack
we're
of cigarettes, but
paying.
in Canadian dollars rather than American dollars. So it's
Well,
about
right now we're paying
one.
$3 a gallon for a super.
I
For
hardly move my car these days because of freaking COVID. Whereas before I was driving back and forth between two cities. I think it's around let me think, around a dollar 15 a liter. So I
a
think
liter.
that
So
works out to times four. I think that's like
that's
four sixty,
15.34.
450.
Yeah, that's you. So you're paying a dollar and a half more than we are.
Yeah,
Maybe a little more.
and that's usual for gas. Like it was, anyways. You're a resource country too, but we produce a lot of freaking gas, but we don't refine it ourselves. That's our biggest problem. We
You can
send it to
refine it.
Texas to
America has
get
refineries.
refined. That
Yeah.
whole pipeline thing was because Canada won't build refineries. We wanted to build a pipeline to pipe the raw crude down. And this is a good thing for you guys, but a bad thing for
Yeah.
us because we were going to pipe raw crude down to Texas to get refined. Raw crude is just really difficult to put through a pipe because it's just this sludge
Yeah. And
rather
you
than
got that.
refine it ourselves, but we'd have to invest a lot in a refinery system. And there's no private companies that want to do it. But still, as a country, we would be so much smarter to refine our own thing. We're
Oh
paying
yeah.
50%
No.
more than you guys for the stuff that we produce more of. We have the largest like gas and oil reserve, second only
Dude,
to
yeah, but
Saudi Arabia, is Canada,
right.
and we're paying $1.50 more for gas than you. Fucking stupid.
No, no. Taking into account the trade difference with the currency. Uh, I think like a dollar is worth 85 cents right now. I know 100 Canadian dollars is worth, oh God,
Okay.
90 something. It's not like 10% difference.
It was
Something
when
like
I
that.
looked at it the other way. It was $1 to $1.28. So $1 is worth.
So
We had to pay
so
$1.28,
20%.
1.28. So they get 28%. It's a pretty
So
good difference from them.
taking into account the trade difference, you're paying about the same for gas.
No, I think it's even more. Like I'm paying. Oh wait, maybe you're right. I'm trying to figure it out. 450 is
Because we're
roughly.
paying 291 a gallon right now for
Okay, so if
super,
I'm paying
not for regular gas.
450,
Regular gas is 230 something dollars. Two
it's a
dollars
little.
32.
Oh, you're right. Okay, so it's a little bit. Okay, sorry, I was ranting and raving for nothing, but you're right.
You're the mathematician, not
You did.
me.
It's good math. It's true. If we're like 450 a gallon, and you're like, well, that would be equivalent to like no. If you're three, it would be a yeah 299. That would be equivalent to like 420 a liter. It's true. Okay. So it's not so bad, but still, there's a point to be made there. I think like we are. I think it's a gift to the United States that we give you this raw oil at like $50 a barrel, and you sell it back to us at like $500 a barrel of like
You're
refined
fine.
gas
Yeah.
and proper oils and stuff. I mean, but anyway, maybe there's. I just think that Canada shouldn't be just a export because we sell this stuff. I remember in Alberta when we were there, they would sell the royalties of the land. Alberta government, which that's how Alberta got to be rich, was they sold the royalties of the
Yeah.
of the thing to the company, and then the company gets to exploit the land, as it were. And it would be 15 cents on the dollar for the barrel of crude oil was what Alberta got from that. So we got
Okay.
15 cents. The company took 85 cents of that. And
Right.
that's just a barrel of crude oil. That means the oil in the ground is probably worth at least 10, maybe 100 times more than that, depending what you get out of it. If it's jet
From what
fuel
I
or
heard,
diesel, all these things. And we're getting 15 cents out of $1,000 basically. That's what
yeah.
and I was always upset about that. Like, yeah, okay, we're rich in the moment, but if we were to invest something, we could be touching the
Penny wise and
$1,000, not
pound
just
foolish.
one
Yeah.
dollar. Anyways,
It's being penny wise and pound foolish. I heard Canada alone has 3 trillion barrels of oil in Alberta, untouched. 3 trillion barrels, and America has got close to like 4 or 5 trillion barrels, untouched.
untouched stuff, yeah, and a lot of different stuff. I think the oil reserves. You guys have a lot of natural gas. I
We
think
do,
that's where you
yeah.
guys really got a lot. But yeah, all this stuff, and it's gold. Like it's really gold. There was one guy.
Mm-hmm.
It was an uncle, and he got himself rich in the oil industry, doing different. Anyways, whatevs. But I remember having a conversation with him, and he says, "You know what? It's really too bad that we're taking this out of the ground so fast now." Like he was fine with it. He was like, that's the way the market is. He's going to follow the market. He wasn't against it for that kind of reason, but just that
Right.
he said, as an investment, like if he was the one to be able to manage that investment, you leave it in the ground for the next 100 years, and then the price triples, quadruples. You know what I mean? Let
That's the
everyone else,
problem.
and
You know,
investment wise, you let it trickle out now. Like we don't have to get rich now, but and one of the other things he says was he said it's too bad that we're using it, burning it in all the cars. Like it works great to burn in cars, but no, I'm
that's
serious.
just
Like this is a total.
that's just the way to look at it. 'Cause
He just said like in terms of the use of this resource, it's so much more valuable in hospitals as plastics than burnt in
oh,
cars.
forget about it.
Like
It just
he said, the day
I'm
that
gonna
we
give you
run
a
out of
tangent here.
plastics, the human race is like fucked. But we
Yeah.
could
Oh,
run
yeah.
out of
Definitely.
gas.
Yeah.
And so, but it was fascinating to talk to him because I thought, wait, you're like the ultra conservative of our family. And he says, yeah, of course, he's all about free markets. So he knew what was going on. But at the same time, just seeing like in the crystal ball kind of way, oil is way more useful as plastic than is this. But at the same time, we don't have another choice right now. We need
All
to
right.
move products. He was
Get
totally
you
for that.
to
I mean,
get totally off of the finances of it. I can tell you how oil works. But as far as it being a commodity now,
mhm.
there are investors out there who predict what oil is going to be, and that's why oil prices are so high. 60,
Yeah.
70 dollars a barrel, and that's why gasoline is so high. Without these people who are
Yeah.
forecasting the price of these commodities, it would be a lot lower. We'd be paying pennies for gas instead of dollars.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
that has a lot to do with greed too,
Yeah.
obviously, because oil being a commodity, it's needed around the world, and India and China right now are the biggest markets for that.
It is true. Yeah, that and they're trying to catch up in the industrial scale. But yeah, no, absolutely. The market leads it. And that's where my uncle is totally in agreement. Like, hell, if the price of, or the price versus the cost of running a car on gas is X and running it on, I don't know, solar is the other thing. I mean, you do the smart thing. The futures market, like you say, that's a whole nother ball of wax, which I'm fascinated by, which is how those people that bet on the future really um, direct the future. They're not just betting on it. They're
Yeah,
they're not just
right.
projecting it. They're pushing it that way, which is fascinating. Like the market wasn't meant to do that, but that's kind of what it does in the end. Like people push up gas futures, and it affects the gas market, and then people go that way. And if it's more expensive, well, anyways, there's different market pressures. Like if it's cheaper, then people would use more of it. Whereas right now, solar, say, is more expensive for heating or whatever. So people would use less of it. So if the price of gas goes down, again, demand. Anyways, it's a fascinating thing. The whole market aspect of it is really
Well,
fascinating. But
it's
absolutely,
pretty
people are playing in
complex.
the market in a very immoral way. I agree with that too. And they're
Yeah.
doing different things to kind of tighten things down, especially these futures markets, which caused the housing crash back in 2008 or 2008. I mean, 2008. But
It really works.
anyways, yeah, that's a whole markets thing. I wasn't ready to talk about that. I thought we were going to talk about the.
No, no.
No,
We were supposed to talk about the Fifth Amendment,
we talk about
uh,
whatever we want. Yeah.
but yeah, but to change the subject now, uh, I don't think they're going to impeach Trump. If Pence does not want to change, propose any kind of impeachment against him. So there's some good news.
Well, that's the 25th Amendment, though, right?
Yes.
The impeachment thing, though, I agree. The impeachment thing, if they want to do an impeachment, which would mean just hammering something like at lightning speed through the House and the Senate, right? I think
They
that's what.
want is they don't want him to run again. They want to prevent him from running another term.
I mean, that would look so bad, right? If they tried to like push impeachment. Wait, isn't that what that means? Like, if they want to remove him from office before January
Right.
20th, they
Right.
have to impeach him in the House
They
and
want
convict
to
him in
impeach
the
him
Senate.
now, and then after Biden becomes president, they want to pursue it until it either gets convicted
Oh, okay.
or it's thrown away. So they don't want him to. They don't want him to run again for office. They're so scared of him. They're trying to do it again.
Okay, I thought it had to happen before the 20th of January.
It
Okay.
did have to. If they want to remove him from office, in a
Okay.
reasonable amount of time. But this is almost what this 12th now. He's got eight
Oh,
days left. It's impossible to do it in 8 days. But like I said, they wanted to wait till after Biden is sworn in, and then put the article of impeachment. One article of impeachment against him was inciting violence in the Capitol during that time through the Twitter or Facebook or whatever. It was through Twitter. Um, that's the only thing they want to do. And if you read his tweets, there was nothing violent in them.
I didn't.
Nothing
I didn't
inciting
read the
violence.
tweets. No, I don't know about the tweets. But it would be. I
No,
don't know if the. And again, founded or not, I just think it's an interesting maneuver. Well, I guess founded. If it's a founded thing or not, that is obviously important.
here's
But
the funny part. He said he's not attending Biden's inauguration.
mhm.
So what they think that what they said that was, oh, Trump is saying I'm not going to be there, so it's safe to go after Biden during the inauguration. Just have a violent outbreak. They were
Okay.
trying to. They were trying to. They're trying to put words in his mouth. Kind of
Okay.
funny.
Wow. No,
They're
it's.
so desperate.
I've heard there was something like what were they saying about the security? They said like the Super Bowl is like the most secure thing in terms of they'll have like CIA, FBI, they'll have like all the security agencies watching the Super Bowl to make sure no one attacks it, because that's like an
Yeah.
American symbol. If someone was
Well,
going
the
to
money
attack,
being needed too.
and then they said, well, maybe the only thing that would be more secure would be an inauguration.
You
And
think,
this
right?
inauguration, there's not going to be anyone there. Like no one can go, right?
Right, because of COVID, they
Because
keep
of
everybody
COVID.
away.
So it was like they couldn't be more secure, but they were still saying there'll be like a whole lockdown on Washington D.C. It was like, look, no one's even going to be out, or well, anyways, apparently it's going to be super lockdown. But yeah, I heard there was some paranoia around around the inauguration. It just, anyways. Hey, puppy.
Say hi, Squeezy. Say hi to Fraser.
Hello.
Look at this face. Look at this face. Look at it.
Oh, no.
My baby.
Oh,
He
he's
can't see anything. He's blind.
okay. It's not just the glare on the camera. Is his
No.
eyes that color?
His eyes are actually, I don't know if you can see, his eyes are permanently dilated. I don't know
Okay,
if you can
just
see.
see. They look kind of milky on the inside. I don't know.
Yeah, right, exactly. Exactly what you see is a dilation. It's called SARD, sudden acquired retinal deficiency, and they go blind within 72 hours.
Wow.
And that's exactly what happened. I watched her go blind in a couple hours, couple of days.
So now just to look around, it's like licking everything. Like, what's over here? Oh, I understand.
Yeah, you're like, you can't really, he goes by feel now. He doesn't really see anything.
Oh my goodness. Oh,
All right, Bubby. Okay, be good boy.
and he's hungry now. Hey, Papa, you said I was gonna get fed soon.
So it's dinner time.
It's almost his dinner time. Yeah. No. Okay. Well, we can take a break then, and
Well, we can go for 10 more minutes if you want.
okay. What else are we gonna
You won't
talk?
talk about the Fifth Amendment. I mean, it's going to be short. I mean, there's really nothing to it.
Oh, darn it.
All right,
Okay, where are my notes on that one? Yeah, it was like, well, there was one guy, I remember one guy broke it into like 5 pieces, and I thought it was really interesting. His 5 pieces on the Fifth Amendment. So he said there's the grand jury.
I'm sorry, what?
Sorry, the 5 pieces were: 1, it was the grand jury at a federal level. 2 was the double jeopardy part of it. 3 was the right to remain silent part of it. 4 was
Right.
the due process clause, and
Right.
5 was basically the what put land for compensation. Oh, compensation for that was this. So it was 5 parts to it. And I thought that was kind of fun or fun. It at least made it digestible for me. You know what I mean? That what the heck was in it? It wasn't just you have the right to remain silent, or I declare the Fifth Amendment. Kind of.
You want to read the context of it?
Sure. Yeah, we can read it out. It's good.
Okay. So, no person shall be held to answer for capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on a presentment or indictment of a grand jury, except in cases arising in the land or naval forces, or in the militia when in actual service in time of war, or in public danger. Nor shall any person be subject for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy of life or limb. Nor shall be compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself, nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. So this is a lot. It's kind of a lot to break down. So, no person be held accountable for capital. Okay. So you can't be held accountable, or you can't implement yourself in a crime unless you're in front of a grand jury, in front of an indictment. Is that what it means?
Read it again.
Yeah, it's kind of confusing. Because it's kind of like
it.
Old English mixed with modern English. So no person be held to answer.
What it was like and the guy explained it, I thought he explained it pretty well. Like if imagine you and your neighbor were having like a row, or I don't know what you call it, a row, but like we're in a disagreement, and he said, no, that guy Frank, he committed a murder. So we say in a murder because it has to be, in the language, apparently it has to be just felonies only. a grand.
Oh, okay, I understand. So you
So
can't
for
do.
felonies, you can't just and say, okay, we're going to take him to court. No, it goes to a grand jury before you get indicted, before you get arrested, and say, is there anything to this thing? Like, did Frank actually, like, is there anything? Come on, show us any evidence, and then maybe we'll go and charge Frank with something real, but only on a federal
Only
level.
after I
Some
get charged, I
states,
can plead the Fifth Amendment.
that's
Okay.
it. Only with really bad shit. With anything really bad, a grand jury is like a jury before the proper trial.
Yeah, I know what a grand jury is.
Something like this.
So, but it says it only in naval forces of militia. So if you're in the Army, Navy, whatever, you have to say whether you're guilty or innocent of this particular crime. Now that's because of now I'm thinking about treason. So you can
So you don't get because this is supposed to protect your rights for a grand jury in normal times. But again,
but you're signing when you join the Navy or any armed forces, you're signing your rights away for that.
You sign your rights away. Yeah, I think you did. I think you're right. So if someone accuses you of murder while you're in the military, you don't get a grand jury. Or if they say it's in a time of war or public danger, that's wicked vague. Ooh, that's too bad.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you can. What?
Hold a court martial.
I know what it is, Mike. Why?
A court martial. No, that's it.
My brother's got some.
That's the term you're looking for.
My brother's got some good things in here, though. Yeah. No, he's right. You can be court martial for that.
Court martial. But imagine when they say in times of public danger, you get a court martial. Like, what does that mean in times of public danger?
Well, I'm thinking about treason, where you commit a treasonous act, like being a spy for Russia, let's say. You give them some important information, and you get caught. You're not allowed, and you're in the Army or Navy. You can't plead the Fifth. You have to answer those charges, because that's a huge public safety thing now.
Interesting. Yeah, no, wow, interesting. That's interesting. Anyways, that's just the first clause. Good God, you're right. We're not going to get through this in 10 minutes. There's no way.
No, we're not.
I have a whole bunch, but I just want to get back to the time of public danger. What if, I don't know, who would even say it? Would it be, would it have to be the president? The Congress would say, we are in a time of public danger, therefore, what happened on Capitol City, or on the Capitol building, Capitol City, on the Capitol building, you don't need a grand jury for that.
Put on my shirt. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I see you got like a super stylish shirt.
Yeah.
That's what they do. All of a sudden you do that, and if you have a proper name like Gucci or something, your t-shirt just became worth $10,000, right? Because you put a proper pattern. It's like a little bear paw pattern or wolf claw or something.
It's a blood splatter. I love it. I didn't even realize I put it on my shirt until just now. I can't see it.
There's got to be a story behind that. Wait a second.
I was in my bed, blowing my nose, and then I'm laying on my side like this, and it's dripping this way. So it wasn't dripping on my shirt, and I didn't even realize I didn't catch it in time.
We're going to come up with a better story than that. Like, what could we... No, I'm just kidding. We'll sell a line of merchandise, and it'll be shirts with this special pattern of like 2 dots coming. Anyway, sorry. I'm going to stop looking at the shirt.
Going back to the Fifth Amendment, you can't be charged twice for the same crime. So it's only if you've been indicted and convicted. There was actually a movie on this called Double Jeopardy. Mm-hmm. A woman was convicted of killing her very abusive husband. He faked his own death to get her in jail, and he came back to abuse her again, haunt her basically. Not haunt, but just to try to get back at her. And then she ended up shooting him right in front of, the sheriff or something in the town she moved to. And she gave up right away, and they couldn't convict her because she went to jail already for his death. They couldn't convict her again for his death. So, that's what happened with O.J. Simpson. They wanted to try him again for the murder of Nicole Brown Simpson. He was found innocent the first time, so we couldn't be convicted again he couldn't be on trial again for the same thing.
That's an interesting case. Oh, that's interesting you brought that up.
And there was some more evidence that came up.
But then they convicted him in a civil case, so he got sued for all his money.
Different, right? Yeah,
but he still, different. And then basically he was like, what would you call him? A pariah?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
there was the court of public opinion.
Public opinion, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's like 3 levels of court. Sure, federal court you can't be double, or maybe in all courts you can't be double jeopardy, not just federal court, right?
Civil court. No, I don't. I think it's more like criminal. I don't think it's for civil court.
It doesn't.
Civil
Yeah.
court, completely different thing. Because now civil court, you're looking at monetary damages, not any type of prison time.
But there was something about slap suits. Like they have restrictions on slap suits, but like maybe that means you can't be sued for the same thing over and over and over again. You know what I mean?
That could be.
Like it was something like people would be sued and they were using lawsuits. It was some case of like a coal miner against a comedian or something like that.
Oh, I don't know.
And the coal miner would just sue the comedian for something ridiculous.
But libel or something? I couldn't think of anything else. Libel?
No, but he would try to. It was a slap suit, and so it was like a lawsuit, but it was a baseless lawsuit. And so there was a way of kind of not a grand jury, but it was like a way of like looking at what the lawsuit meant before it got to court. So it was like a pre-trial kind of thing for a lawsuit, which was monetary, which is more, I think, civil court.
That's probably
I think
civil
that's what it
court.
is. So, anyways, I think a slap suit was kind of like a grand jury and a, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like it had to make sure, like, does the suit have merit to it? Oh, it was one of those things too. It was Stormy Daniels. You know Stormy
Oh,
Daniels?
God.
Apparently,
Yeah.
she tried to sue, but it was meritless. Like she sued for libel damages against Donald
She's the one
Trump.
that broke she broke the non-disclosure agreement, so she had no basis for a lawsuit. That's why they were
But
thrown
it
away.
came up as a slap suit, so she actually had to pay all the legal fees of
She
the other
did,
side.
right.
It was like a real thing because she tried to sue, but it was baseless, like you say, and it was one of those things. Like it got caught before it had to go to court. Again, it was a civil side of things, but anyway, double jeopardy was the other one. That was the next one.
That wasn't the film of Double Jeopardy.
Oh, whoops, that was double. So grand jury, double jeopardy, right to remain silent. Everyone kind of knows that. Like there are Miranda rights, right? You have a
No,
right
that's
to
not.
remain
No,
silent.
that's not First Amendment. Miranda is completely different.
I heard
Miranda-
though it was based on this though.
It could be. Yeah, I think. Mike, you think Miranda's based on the Fifth Amendment?
Miranda was based on
Just answer
a
me,
case
brother.
of where someone was arrested a long
There was-
time ago.
Yeah,
Can you hear?
the stupid guy.
And
It's true. His name was Miranda.
The person didn't know their rights at the time, and the cops didn't read rights at the time.
Hmm.
So when their rights were violated, there was a whole big suit about it, and that's where the person's name was actually Miranda.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
yeah.
And
Okay.
when their rights were violated, they brought up a civil suit about that. Stop it. A civil suit about it, and now the cops have to, by law,
Mhm.
read you your Miranda rights.
Mhm.
So this way, your rights cannot be violated by the police.
So I guess like they don't want you to reading a Miranda to you. They don't want you admitting to a crime.
That's it. You
Oh,
don't have to if you don't
unintentionally.
want to. And they have to really spell that out for you.
Unintentionally.
You have the right to not talk. You have the right to wait for a lawyer. And it was kind of to the due
Right.
process thing. Like the cops are not on your side. If they think you're guilty
No,
of
they're
something,
not.
the cops
They
are
wanna-
not on your side.
Oh,
They'll
God.
act like your friend or something. They're not on your side. And the due process thing is like, you want to tell your story so bad. It's like, no, I didn't do it. Don't even say a thing. The due process is that's for later. The cops want to tell you have to talk right now. They're not on your side. Even if
No,
you're
they're not.
not guilty, get a lawyer to say it for you. Like it just,
Is there-
that's due process right there.
Is there an equivalent of Miranda rights in Canada?
Yes, I think there's different ways that you have to present your ID or different ways that they can justify to do a search on you. That's a little bit more vague than the United States, I think. I haven't read up on it recently.
Well, that's the Fourth Amendment, illegal search and seizure. We talked about that already. I don't know. I don't think Canada has something like that. I think only America does. But getting back to the Fourth Amendment, illegal search and seizure. The cops now could have what's it called?
Warrant.
Not a warrant. I can't think of it.
They
Just
kinda-
cause. just cause to search you or
Just
your car.
cause. At
You
least
know,
just
your
cause.
car does not fall under the Fourth Amendment, but your house does. So there's something. There's something you got to learn.
Wait, that was back to the fourth. I didn't study on the fourth. You mean?
We did the fourth already before, didn't we?
That was yeah, for sure. We were on the fifth. I just don't remember. I'd have to go back to it. When I look
Talking to
back at our
you.
video, the only one I actually watched again was the third. The actual one on the Third Amendment. I thought that was a really funny video. It was pretty good, but it was still some. I don't know. It was very cringe. I was like, why did I say that? Anyways, but that's my opinion. But yeah, we did.
All right.
We definitely did do the fourth, but I've forgotten what it was already. But it was the one
I
about
need
land.
to.
Yeah,
It was about illegal search and seizure.
illegal search and
I
seizure.
need to take my dog. So if you want to pause it, I'll be back in a couple of minutes.
Oh right, yeah, no problem. Yeah, go ahead. I'll do my thing. I'll mute it so I can do my business, and I'll leave the stream going. Okay. Yeah.
All right, I'll be back.
Okay, no problem.
Bye. Where is he?
Right here.
I'll pick him up.